And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special wrestling review, actually, that I haven't done in a long while and said I would never do again. But I've changed that scenario. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry to change my mind on this. It's actually a TNA Impact episode that occurred this past Wednesday on July 1st. This show was actually not too bad. The only issue I have with it is why wasn't it on the Slammiversary pay-per-view itself? The TNA World Championship was actually pretty outstanding for the fact that Kurt Angle was facing freaking Ethan Carter III. I don't find him all that interesting, but his build-up to becoming world champion actually was very, very well done. The guy went undefeated for 2 years, despite the fact of all the matches he had were cheats and screw jobs that he had, and I never even knew he was undefeated. Goes to show you how stupid TNA really is on not capitalizing on that build-up they were creating with Ethan Carter III. Or at least in my case, I just haven't been paying much attention to it, and I never knew about it. So that's that case. But we'll go in order here, what happened match per match, and, segments here. There was just one promo segment that occurred. But started things off, we had a Elimination Survivor Series type matchup to start things off for this bell-to-bell show against the Rising and the Beatdown Clan. We had Drew Gallows being the last guy on his team facing all four members of the Beatdown Clan, where Hernandez, which I didn't even know came back, what's his name, MVP, Low-Key, and Kenny King. He was facing all four of these competitors. He eliminated Low-Key and Kenny King, but unfortunately, with having Hernandez border tossing him across the ring, and then MVP doing the drive-by kick, he lost the match, in which case made the Rising disband completely. Not that it was a big deal anyway, because I didn't think they were that much of a rise anyhow. Truthfully, they were complete shit. Match itself, though, wasn't overall that bad. It was pretty average at best, though, but it wasn't horrible. It was pretty fun and entertaining to watch, but it wasn't where it needed to be, in my personal opinion. But it was still good nonetheless. I give the match 3 out of 5 stars at least, just to be nice. The next match on the show was actually, we did have a segment after that. Most of these matches were actually pretty decently long, except for one match, and that was the Knockouts title match. So we had the next segment was with Magnus and Mickie James, with a nice verbal confrontation between Mickie James and Magnus on James Storm and what he was trying to do and what his whole thing was about, and he pretty much explained that to Mickie James and Magnus. And overall, the verbal communication and dialogue between the three of them was actually pretty decent. It didn't seem like they were following too much of a script. I mean, there was a few moments in there that it kind of felt like they were reading off of a script or following a storyline, but still overall, it wasn't that bad of an acting job and pretty well done and put together. So I really don't have too many complaints about that either. I'll be totally honest with you guys. I was very shocked by watching this and seeing that they kind of showed some kind of improvement, or at least put some kind of pay-per-view type quality for this show, I guess to get ratings, but I really thought that this should have belonged on a freaking TNA Slammiversary show. The next thing that came up was the TNA Tag Team Championship belts. This was a little bit disappointing, but a decent match nonetheless. It was 30-minute Iron Man match, tag team. Never seen anything like this before. A tag team in an Iron Man match. It's always been a singles competition. But this was actually not that bad either. A little slow for my taste. Not usually used to the slow pace in tag team wrestling, but this wasn't bad. Uh, it was okay, and I have to say again, it's a 3 out of 5 stars, and the Wolves walked away as tag team champions again. That was really my big beef about this match. If the match would have had the Dirty Heels with Austin Aries and Bobby Roode walking away as the tag team champions, I wouldn't have been that disappointed in the match. But I think that the Wolves have gotten enough title wins where they don't really need to have the belts because they don't even hold on to them that long anyway to begin with. After that was the Knockouts Championship match, and I didn't even really care for this one. Didn't really give a shit. The Knockouts champion retained her title. It was Taryn Terrell against Brooke and Awesome Kong. I don't know what the hell was so big about that match, but it was shit, so I didn't even care for it. Give that a dud or whatever. I don't even fucking care about that one. And then we had a small segment with Jeff Jarrett and him announcing that, Global Force, he's been focusing a lot on that, and they asked him what his whole purpose was about the TNA King of the Mountain Championship belt, what they were going to do with that. And he said nothing really they're going to do with that belt. So kind of leaves like a bland, kind of stale feeling really about that TNA King of the Mountain belt. I mean, like, it has no meaning, it had no purpose. It was just there to say, hey, we had a title match for the main event of the show. Really didn't quite get that. It really was kind of stupid in my opinion. And kind of really sucked in my personally. Again, don't know why. And kind of left a little bit of a clue that the Global Force Wrestling was actually going to be making somewhat of an impact in TNA, which might be interesting, and I have heard that they're thinking about doing a TNA versus Global Force, a GFW type invasion with each other, where superstars will invade each other's arenas and shit like that in their events. And I mean, it is kind of like WWE versus WCW back in the day, with the ECW added in there with WCW with the Alliance. So I mean, it is kind of, just copycatting and recycling the same shit that was done before, but it might turn out pretty decent. Unfortunately, they don't have GWF does not or GFW doesn't really have the biggest name stars on their roster. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, but maybe it'll help them gain some credibility and exposure to wrestling fans and the wrestling audience around the world. So I think that might be a benefit to Jeff Jarrett's company. I don't know why Impact Wrestling would go for this, based on the fact that, I think that GFW is going to benefit more than Impact Wrestling altogether. It might even put Impact Wrestling straight out of business, but who really cares? People are expecting them to go out of business to begin with. The next match was the main event, and that was for the TNA World Championship match with Kurt Angle versus Ethan Carter III, or as for short, EC3. This match, I was very impressed, as I said earlier in this video. Very impressed by EC3 in this match. But then again, you're talking about one of the greatest, he competed against one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. So, I mean, with that being said, it could be like Kurt Angle just made him look like $1 million and that was really it. You got to see how he does overall after winning the championship and how he does defending it later on, and then maybe in the next couple of shows or something, because they seem to have these guys defend the world championship every fucking week or something. Yeah, honestly, very great match. Was very impressed. It was exciting. It had a lot of good moments. And overall, I give it a 3.5, maybe even a 4. I just think that it should have belonged on the Slammiversary pay-per-view. This match was so pay-per-view worthy to be on the main event of Slammiversary. It's ridiculous. But, you know, that's TNA for you, and that's why I still say to this day they still suck dick. But, overall, the show itself was very good, and again, it should have been on TNA Slammiversary pay-per-view, not on the Impact Wrestling episode. But at this time, you know what to do. Leave your comments, opinions, and anything else you'd like to say, and I'll get right back to you. And hit that subscribe button to tune in for some more wrestling reviews, as well for episodes on wrestling, fantasy wrestling ideas, and also for Inside of a Wrestler's episodes. And I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this Impact Wrestling review, and you guys have a great night, guys. Bye.